Hello folks. What I'm going to do here is just to take you through just some of the small things that I'm seeing in the drafts in regard to putting references in. Okay, so what I got here is I've just got a piece of a document. It's a short paper. Okay, it doesn't matter what it's called or who it's by or anything like that. I'm just looking at the text. Okay. So it's what I've done is I've presented it like it's sort of done rough, and I haven't put the full references in. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll just take you through this one paragraph, and that will just so that you can go back over and check how you've done your references. Okay, so sentence number one. Constructivism has been seen as desirable background to learning environments in science, so much so that it's been written into some curricula. And then it says, see for example, IRL. Now what I meant there is that probably meant see for example the Irish curriculum. So that's NCCA, and because we've got 1999. Okay. Now, and then the thing is, of course, is that when you get that, is you bring that down below. Now the NCCA is a bit complicated because it's an abbreviation. Okay, and what you might do is go. It's the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment. Something wrong there, yeah, too many E's. Okay, 1999, close that bracket, and it's the revised primary curriculum. Okay, that's the title, and we'll put that goes in italics. Okay, and where's it published and who's it published by? Okay, so it's published by Government Publications, and that's in Dublin. Okay. All right, so that's what you can do. Now, if you're specifically referring to the science guidelines versus the actual science curriculum, that's two documents, and so you would go 1999A and 1999B, and you put both in your references. And I think it's a pretty good piece of advice if I was to say to you, somewhere refer to the curriculum. Okay, it's great and everything. You're looking for papers, and I've given you some and so on. But you actually should, for a project that is a case study and it's based on work in the classroom, there should be something referring to the Irish curriculum. But I'm thinking that you don't look at the actual objectives; you look at the general principles of the primary curriculum. Okay. Now, so we're moving on then. Okay. Traditionally, schools have offered science in the transmission of knowledge paradigm, and yeah, that's transmission of knowledge. There's different things you could write instead of transmission of knowledge. It could be expository. Okay. A traditional pedagogic paradigm, and one question arises whether in the classroom or laboratory one finds a constructivist learning environment unfolding. Constructivism raises questions about how teachers gauge students in something other than memorization or recall of facts. Taylor suggests. So actually what happens here is that Taylor is actually him and his buddies, and we'll put in the year. I'm making the year up. Okay. Now, Taylor, et, and al is short for alia, meaning others. So in its Latin, so it should be in italics. Okay, and to be really finicky, there's probably should be a comma there. Okay, now because Taylor et alia is more than one person, they suggest. Okay, but if it was Taylor 1992, Taylor 1992 suggests. Okay, so you've got to keep the person in the same number in that sentence. So Taylor et al. 92 suggests that teachers must adopt an educational interest in their students as learners, and importantly, such an interest must transcend both their own fascination with science and their concerns around delivery of course content. So this was Taylor et al. Again, but this time he's being cited. Okay, so everything is inside the brackets, not just the year. Okay, so there you see the two main kinds of reference or citation inside the text: the Taylor et al. And only the year in brackets, and then the Taylor et al. And it's all inside the brackets. Okay, so then we come to these two, and you can go Bauersfeld, okay, I don't know, something like that, and Tobin, okay. For example, okay, describe both of those, okay. So you can see that we've got NCCA, we've got Taylor et al., we've got Bauersfeld, and we've got Tobin. Okay, so now we come to Peter Taylor and Barry Foster. Some people like to use first names, but generally speaking, you don't use first names in educational research. Now, the reason that you might use them is, in this case, is that Peter Taylor and Barry Fraser were they're being cited here as the guys who came up with the Constructivist Learning Environment Survey, which is a brilliant tool. Okay. And there's one for students and one for teachers. It's a very interesting questionnaire. So we're kind of actually getting into who came up with the questionnaire. Just as when you were and we're looking at the science reasoning tasks in the studies that you're doing, we'll need to actually put the reference in there. Okay. So you can see that there's, you can get a lot of references very quickly. But anyway, Peter Taylor and Barry Fraser developed the Constructivist Learning Environment Survey in 1992. See, for example, Taylor and Fraser, 1992. And put that in brackets. But they're also suggesting that Taylor did, then we got Taylor et al. So they've got an extra person then in 1992. Okay, it just so happens that there's more than 3 authors, and Taylor happens to be the first one, the lucky duck. All right, so his name is the one you see the most. And then it talks. There's no other references there. Okay, so you can see that you can have. There's a double reference. There's a reference with more than 3 people. Okay. What we can do then is, this is about the so-called Sophia project. We can do all kinds of things like, start putting references in referring to that, and that was in 9. Okay, again italics on that. Okay, right, so you can see we've got that. Now in a different way you could do this. For example, we could, let's redo this sentence. Okay, so you could, for example, just have a look at that sentence that's been isolated. Beresford and Tobin described how the quality of both classroom discourse and interpersonal relationships between teachers and students has a direct impact on the quality of the knowledge constructed. Okay, now what we could do is we could make a definitive statement such as the quality of both classroom discourse and interpersonal relations between students and teachers have a direct impact on the quality. You know, and you could say according to these guys. So that is a different way to write that same sentence. Okay. And the reason you might do that is because you may have started the previous paragraph, the previous sentence with references at the start, and or even done that a couple of times, and it gets a bit tedious when you're reading it to keep having the references at the start. So you mix it up where the references come at the end or at the start. Okay? And you say, so if it's at the start, they described how. If it's at the end, according to. Okay. What else can we do? We can do this differently. All right. We can actually just take that out and get rid of the brackets because they're all going to be in brackets. I put a semicolon there and a comma there. Okay. And do the comma. And there we go. All right. And the full stop remains outside the bracket. So there's just referencing that. Now, what I've done there, that would be more if I had a series of sentences, and I'm just list. It's almost like a list, and I'm putting the references at the end in that manner, and that's really just to build up the literature. Okay, if I wanted to put in a lot of references. Okay, again, that sentence says the same thing. Okay. Now, just so you know, this would be wrong. Okay. Let's just say, for example, that Beresford was also, say they were the same year. Okay. Okay. They were. You can't put them both in the same phraseology. Okay, and 1 year, because that implies they both wrote a paper together, and I have no idea if they did that. Okay, so what you would have to do is separate them. Okay, all right, and a semicolon always, implies a list, and there's a list of two. So it's there nonetheless. Okay, so that's the basic thing. So what I got here is this is the referencing for a book. So what about if we're referencing a journal article? Okay. And then, of course, what happens is you don't put et al. Ever into your references. And we've got a few names. I'll just bring it in from the other article here. I'll just put them all there because they were all. And when you copy and paste, of course, it all goes south. Okay, we don't need him. And so we put that there. So the letter goes second. I'll just get rid of the fact that we get that out, we get that out, and we get that out. Okay, so we're just listing. So we are. And you got the idea, of course. I'll just try and do it right. Oops. And okay, so we have that. Doing funny things, of course. All kinds of formatting. and bring it back down to 12. Okay. Journal of blah. Okay, so get rid of that. Whatever the journal title is, and the volume. If there is a section or an edition or an issue, okay, and then the page numbers and a stop. Okay, sometimes people put that tight up against the thing, and the bit that should be in italics probably should be the journal name and the volume. Okay, so that's a little bit pernickety. Okay, so that's why it's Gasha Dal. All right. Some of you are also then putting page numbers in just to say, if you're doing that, it's a colon and 32. Okay, that would be the typical thing. Some of you are doing things like comma, p dot. Okay, some of you are doing capital P, which does look a little bit off. So the simplest thing is just colon and one space and the page number if you must. Okay, so I hope you find that useful. And I'm hesitating because I just remembered what I was told in college, and I'm really, that's where I'm at. Is look, you can interpret it, the APA 6th edition, slightly differently for various things, but whatever you do, you be consistent. Okay, and that's the basic rule. So we'll stop at that, and good luck.